today I'm going to unbox and take a look at the 7 days battles, June 25th to July 1st, 1862. This is from Worthington Publishing, and it is the third in the series of Worthington's Civil War Brigade Battle series. I earlier covered Antietam, 2nd edition. This is the first game in the Civil War Brigade Battle series, and I'm skipping to number 3 because I don't have Shiloh yet, but I did go out and purchase it. I should have it soon. This was compliments of Worthington, of Grant himself, so I want to thank him for that. And I'm really excited to get into this. This series, it looks very interesting to me. I've been looking at it for a while, and just recently, over the last few weeks, Hexie has been doing Shiloh, the one I don't have. And the system looks, in a term that I used in my Antietam unboxing and overview, very accessible. It's not overly complicated. The series rules are 8 pages. The counters are nice. There's good quality. There's mounted boards. There are all the rules that you would need for or expect for a Civil War tactical system. Morale and rally and command. What more do you need, right? And it also has a unique strength point system of how you keep track of that and how the combat works. So what's even more interesting about this game is that this is covering several battles over the 7 days battles. Antietam was Antietam, Shiloh I assume is Shiloh, but this is going to cover more than one battle that was part of that period or campaign. So let's take a look at the back of the box here. And this is a relatively heavy box because there's mounted map boards, and I think there are 2 double-sided mounted map boards. So you do the math. Maybe that means there's 4 battles in here. 2 players, 4 out of 10 difficulty. That seems about right for most Worthington games. As I said, they're very accessible. They're not necessarily gateway games, but they're not overly complex. Ages 14 plus, and victory within 3 to 6 hours. You get 2 double-sided mounted game boards, 4 counter sheets, dice, rule book, battle book, and player aid cards. Okay, so let us get inside this box and see what we have here. This is, as I said, this system is in series. Just, watching Hexie and seeing other stuff about it and watching some other coverage of this series made me want to get Shiloh sight unseen. Well, not sight unseen. I was able to follow it from other people. There is the box cover. Nice art there. Lee and his commanders. Got a little bit of it's a solid box, typical type game box here. You get some baggies. You get 2 dice, or 2 10-sided dice, a red and a blue. Imagine they do the baggies since I think you have 4 battles in here, so you're probably going to want to sort out the counters in some manner. Here is the Brigade Battle Series rules, and as I said, 8 pages right there. They're dual column. There are highlights in blue, which are like key rules that they want to point out. The green is changes from, I think, 1.2 to 1.3. This is 1.3 version, I believe, of the rules. And so there might be some strikeouts, but more importantly, I think the green is some additions or some changes to it. So this is kind of a living rules in some regard. As I said, dual column. It follows somewhat of a case system. You have your 1.0, 1.1, 1.1.1, and so on. So you've got key concepts, stacking, zone of control, strength points, and there's those strength points I was telling you about where you're going to be able to keep track of that along with the counter, like under the counter, or maybe you can put it on top of the counter, however you want to portray it, but that's going to keep track of the strength points for that unit. And another key element is shattered, right? Morale, game scale, combat units, and non-combat units. And you get an example of the counters there. You have your game map, player aids, and the units. And then we're going to get into getting started. How about that? Turn sequence, command phase, and with most Civil War games, command is a very important aspect of the game. The morale and keeping the units cohesive is very important, but also the command of those units. And out of commands are going to have some negative effects. You've got your leaders, organization phase, offensive artillery phase, movement phase, and then how to move artillery. And you also have some examples, a little bit of example narrative, and then a color image to help explain the example as well. More on the combat phase, defensive fire, offensive fire, line of sight. We all know line of sight. Fire command procedure, combat results, morale check procedure, retreat and rout. And again, examples of each one of those elements. Advance, and then you go into the rally phase, night turns, tie to the battle markers, scenario setup, and then victory. And there you have it. That's the rules. So we're not talking, a lot of rules to read and get into the game. Then you have your playbook here. The playbook is going to have your scenarios for the game. It is 12 pages, and on the back you have a terrain effects chart, which you got your image of the terrain, movement costs, terrain bonus, and what blocks line of sight. Okay. And in here we've got the introduction, and then there might be some special rules for the scenarios. It looks like there's some for, this is the series rules, but there might be some special rules for the 7 days battles here. Command structures, Jackson's command initiative, some rules that apply out to all scenarios. Then you're into the scenarios. You've got the historic Battle of Beaver Dam Creek. Scenario 2 is Here Comes Jackson. Scenario 3 is Jackson arrives on time. And these three are for Beaver Dam Creek. Then you have scenario 4 is the historic Battle of Gaines Mill. So you've got your setup for Union and Confederate, your special rules and victory points. Scenario 5 is Beaver Dam Creek and Gaines Mill board. Interesting. Scenario 6 is the historic Battle of Glendale. Looks like a little bit more involved battle. There's a lot larger Union setup and Confederate setup here. Special rules and victory conditions off to the side here. And some notes on terrain. Then you have Scenario 7, Historic Battle of Malvern Hill. This is even more of a setup than the other ones. So it looks like we're getting more complicated as we go into these scenarios, or at least more involved scenarios. Then Scenario 8 is use Glendale and Malvern Hill board. And you have quite a lot of setup, and then some more special rules and some victory conditions there. And then that's it. So you get 8 scenarios, and then you have that terrain effects chart on the back there. So quite a bit in the battle book. Then we've got 2 player aids here. Thicker stock paper or cardboard, which you might expect for a player aid, and they're both identical, and they are showing the movement chart, morale chart, fire range chart, and combat results. So you have one for each of the players, and then they each have a terrain effects chart on the back, which is the same what's on the back of the battle book. So nice player aids there. And as you can see, there's not a lot of charts. There's not a lot of complexity to this game. I mean, you're going to movement, morale, fire, and combat. And then, of course, there's command and leaders, but not a ton of rules to get into this game or into this system. Now, I'll be gentle with the counter sheets here because these counters are pre-rounded. They come out quite easily. they come out quite easily, and so you just got to be kind of careful as you poke them out. They're pre-rounded, so you don't need to clip them. I like that. I'm not really a clipper, and they're decent stock here, as you can see. Good thickness and good quality. Yeah, just touching that, I poked out Daniel there. So you've got the Confederate forces here. You also have some administrative markers: out of command, routed, fired, and then some of your strength point markers there. And then a whole another sheet of strength point markers. As you can tell, these are a key component to the game, and it's kind of a unique aspect of the system. And these, of course, the counters are all double-sided. You can see there. Some more strength point, and then we get into some more administrative markers, and then we get into some of the Union forces here. And these are double-sided, as you can see there. And the good-sized counters, I mean, that's, there's my thumb. They're decent-sized counters there. Some more administrative, routed, out of command, strength point markers, and then more of the same there. So there are your 4 counter sheets. And then there are 2 mounted map boards. I'm going to need some space for this. So let's clear out some space and see what I can do here. I might actually not only clear out some space, but I might need to go up periscope with these. So let's look at this one first. Which way does this one go? All right, they kind of go that way. Let's pop up a little bit here and see what we can see. And there you have it. That is the Gaines Mills. This is the 7 Days Battles Gaines Mill. You've got your turn track here. So you go up to 30 turns on this. There's some night turns in here as well. This game does have night rules. You have your lost track, so there's going to be counters to keep track of casualties. And then you've got the got a creek, a river here, a couple of creeks. Nice terrain, interesting terrain here. So let me go in a little bit closer after we take a look at the flip side of this. Flip side of this, so this is Gaines Mill. And again, these are all mounted. And then on this one is a Glendale. Glendale goes this way. You can see all that. And a lot of kind of different terrain here. It looks like you've got a little bit of like a marsh or low zone or flood zone for the rivers or creeks. Got the White Oak Swamp. Some roads and some bridges or fords there. You've got your lost track up there at the very top, and then you've got, of course, your turn track, which goes 35 turns and has 3 night turns in that. So that is your Glendale. Then we have this next map, and these are nice, as you can see here, very nice mounted maps. That is a quality aspect of Worthington. And this is Beaver Dam map here. In some of these maps, I think you use 2 of them together, at least some of those scenarios. You've got a 30 turn track with 3 night turns. You've got your lost track here. So interesting terrain there. And then let's flip this over and see what we get here. And we have... I think it goes this way, Malvern Hill. So very different terrain. I mean, this looks similar to the Glendale map. I think this goes with the Glendale on some of the scenarios, but this is Malvern Hill. And it's not dominated by that river or creek with that kind of its flood zone here. You've got a little bit different kind of terrain there, a little bit more open areas as well. So there you have it. That is, you get 2 double-sided mounted maps. So you get 4 mounted maps in that regard. You get some baggies. You get your 4 counter sheets which of course has quite a few of the strength point counters that you need for the game to keep track of, the status of the units. You get the unit counters, and then again, I didn't show the backside of the Confederate forces there. You get 2 player aids. You get the battle book, which has 8 scenarios, but basically covering 4 battles, but different scenarios for each of those battles. You have your series rules, 8 pages, dice, and there you have it. That is 7 days battles from Worthington Publishing. I want to thank Grant again and Worthington Publishing for giving me an opportunity to get into this. I got some work ahead of me. I want to get these to the table proper and do some play with these, with this and with Antietam, and then when I get Shiloh the same, and do some coverage of that as well. Most likely after action report and talk about gameplay, but I might try to do some in play as well. I was intrigued by Hexy's play of Shiloh. That was interesting. So anyway, that's what I have for you today. 7 days battles. I'm liking the looks of this. I think this is an interesting series, and as I said, very good quality and very accessible. Love to know what you think about this. This is the newest one out, so I don't know if this has got a lot of gameplay or coverage, but love to know what you think about this system in general, any one of the 3, Antietam, Shiloh, or this one, or anything else you want to talk about. Just keep it civil. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.